In 2021, the recreational vehicle industry experienced the biggest sales boom in its history. According to the RV Industry Association, manufacturers shipped more than 600,000 units that year, a record that stunned even industry insiders. Families who once flew on vacations suddenly wanted their own self-contained travel machines. Dealership lots were emptied almost overnight. Waiting lists stretched for months. Factories rushed to expand production as fast as possible. But 3 years later, a different story is emerging. By 2025 and 2026, many dealers and owners were starting to notice the same pattern. Newer RVs were showing quality problems much sooner than expected. Across North America, many dealers and RV owners have reported new units arriving with defects that require repairs shortly after delivery. Owners report leaks during the first rainstorm, cabinets separating from walls, electrical systems failing, and slide-outs refusing to retract. Service centers are overwhelmed with warranty claims. In online owner communities, experienced RV travelers are quietly giving the same piece of advice to newcomers. If you want to protect your money, buy used. Because the decline in quality reported by many newer RV owners did not happen by accident. It is the predictable result of how these vehicles are built, who controls the market, and what changed during the pandemic production boom. To understand why so many new RVs are struggling with reliability, you have to start with a simple illusion that most buyers never notice when they walk onto a dealership lot. If you visit a modern RV dealership, it looks like a competitive marketplace filled with dozens of brands. You might see names like Keystone, Jayco, Airstream, Coachmen, Rockwood, Tiffin, and several others lined up side by side. At first glance, it appears that many companies are competing to build a better product. But that appearance is misleading. In reality, two companies, Thor Industries and Forest River, control a large share of the RV market in North America. Together, they own many of the brands that seem to compete on dealership lots. Thor Industries owns brands like Keystone, Jayco, Dutchman, and Airstream. Forest River, which is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, controls brands like Coachmen, Rockwood, Flagstaff, and Dynamax. Over the past 20 years, these companies have bought many smaller RV makers. The brands still keep their own names and logos, but behind the scenes, many of them share the same factories, suppliers, and management. What looks like competition is often just different brand names on products built in the same system. That system was pushed to its limits during the pandemic boom. When travel restrictions began in 2020, RV sales surged almost overnight. Families wanted a way to travel without airports or hotels. Dealer lots quickly emptied, and manufacturers rushed to build more units. Factories that once built a few hundred RVs a week suddenly tried to produce far more. To keep up, companies hired thousands of new workers in a short time, many with little experience building RVs. At the same time, supply chains were under heavy pressure. Parts like appliances, electronics, and building materials became harder to find. Manufacturers sometimes had to substitute parts just to keep production moving. The result was a factory environment focused mostly on speed. And that leads to a problem many buyers never see. Unlike the auto industry, where cars are built in highly automated factories, most RVs are still built largely by hand. Workers install cabinets, wiring, plumbing, and insulation as the units move down the assembly line. Some large RV manufacturers have been criticized for production systems that reward speed. In some factories, workers are expected to finish a certain number of units each shift. The faster the line moves, the more RVs leave the factory each day. When speed becomes the main goal, small details can get missed. A plumbing connection might not be tightened properly. A cabinet might be secured with fewer screws than it should have. Sealant around a roof seam might not be applied evenly. These issues may not look serious during the quick inspection before the RV leaves the factory. But once the vehicle starts traveling down the highway, small mistakes can turn into bigger repairs. An RV is not just a vehicle. It is also a small house that moves down the road. Every mile creates vibration that puts stress on plumbing, wiring, roof seals, and joints. When a connection that should have been tightened at the factory begins to loosen, water can enter the structure of the RV. And that leads to one of the most common engineering problems in modern RV construction. Most modern RV walls are built using a laminated design. Manufacturers glue together layers of fiberglass, thin plywood, foam insulation, and interior panels to make the walls lighter and easier to tow. But this design also creates a weakness. Many of these walls use a thin plywood layer called luan. It is cheap and lightweight, but it does not handle water well. If moisture gets inside through roof seams or window seals, the luan can swell and separate from the fiberglass. When this happens, the outside wall begins to bubble or ripple. This problem is known as delamination. Once delamination starts, repairs can become very expensive because the layers of the wall have already pulled apart. In serious cases, entire wall sections may need to be replaced. Water leaks have always been a risk with RVs, but rushed assembly and poor sealing can make the problem worse. Many owners only discover these issues after their first season of use. When that happens, they turn to the warranty system expecting help. But repairs can take time. Dealerships often have to document the problem, send photos to the manufacturer, and wait for approval before they can begin the work. If parts are needed, the dealer may also have to wait for them to arrive. During busy seasons, repair centers can become backed up with dozens of RVs waiting for service. Some owners report waiting weeks, and sometimes even months, before repairs begin. While the vehicle sits at the dealership, the owner is often still responsible for monthly loan payments, insurance, and storage costs. For buyers who finance their RV purchase, this delay can become financially frustrating very quickly. And the financial reality of RV ownership does not stop there. Like most vehicles, recreational vehicles experience rapid depreciation. A brand new RV can lose a significant portion of its value the moment it leaves the dealership lot. Industry resale data suggests that some RVs, especially motorhomes, can lose around 20% or more of their value during the first year. This creates a difficult situation for buyers who finance their purchase with long-term loans. If the market value of the RV falls faster than the loan balance decreases, the owner may owe more on the loan than the vehicle is worth. When mechanical issues appear on top of that depreciation, some owners find themselves trapped in a costly asset that is difficult to sell. This combination of reliability concerns and depreciation is one reason why many experienced RV travelers recommend a different strategy. Instead of purchasing the newest model on the lot, they look for well-maintained used units that have already gone through the early stages of ownership. Older RVs offer a few advantages. First, the steepest depreciation has already occurred. Second, many early manufacturing issues may have already been identified and repaired by previous owners. Third, buyers can often research the long-term reliability of a specific model before purchasing. In some cases, older units built before the pandemic production surge may have benefited from slower manufacturing schedules and more experienced factory workers. That does not mean every older RV is perfect, but it allows buyers to evaluate the condition of the vehicle instead of relying entirely on factory promises. Another approach some buyers consider is seeking out smaller manufacturers that operate on a different scale. Several specialty RV builders focus on lower production volumes and simpler construction methods. Companies such as Oliver Travel Trailers, Escape Trailer Industries, and Bigfoot Industries produce fiberglass travel trailers designed for durability and long-term use. Because these companies build fewer units each year, they often emphasize craftsmanship and structural integrity rather than high production volume. Their products may cost more upfront, but some buyers view the improved construction as a worthwhile investment. There is also an unconventional option that has become popular among certain RV enthusiasts. United States import regulations allow vehicles that are at least 25 years old to be legally imported from other countries. This rule has created a niche market for older Japanese camper vans. In Japan, vehicles must pass a rigorous inspection system known as shaken. As vehicles age, the cost of passing this inspection increases significantly. Some owners sell their vehicles as inspection costs increase, which contributes to a supply of exported used vehicles. As a result, some older Japanese vans appear on the export market with relatively low mileage and good mechanical condition. Models like the Toyota Hiace camper or Mazda Bongo camper van are often praised for their reliability and compact design. Because they are smaller than many American RVs, they may also be easier to maintain and operate. For some buyers, importing one of these vehicles can cost far less than purchasing a brand new domestic RV. Of course, every option comes with trade-offs. Older vehicles require careful inspection. Imported vehicles may require additional paperwork or mechanical familiarity. Smaller manufacturers may have long waiting lists. But these alternatives highlight an important lesson about the modern RV market. The newest product on the dealership lot is not always the best long-term investment. The pandemic boom pushed the RV industry into a period of rapid expansion that many manufacturers are still adjusting to today. Factories expanded production rapidly, which some analysts believe strained supply chains and workforce training. As demand cooled and the market returned to more normal conditions, the long-term effects of that rapid expansion became easier to see. Buyers who approach the market with patience and careful research can still find vehicles that provide years of reliable travel. But the days of assuming that every brand new RV represents the highest level of craftsmanship may be over. Before signing a purchase contract, it is worth taking the time to research who actually built the vehicle when it was manufactured, and how that specific model has performed for other owners. Because in the modern RV market, the smartest buyers are not necessarily the ones chasing the newest design or the flashiest features. They are the ones who understand how the industry works behind the scenes. And once you see that system clearly, the advice many experienced travelers repeat begins to make sense. Buy used or buy twice.